disconnected.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's time to change the tire on the CRF250L, and I'm going to use the unit tire change. So I already got the front wheel off of the 250L, and this is my new tire, which is a 321. But we're going to go ahead and stick this on there for now because this tire is pretty much shot. You can see the center tread just about gone. We're going to go ahead and try out this tire changer and see how it works. Okay, you can see here on the unit tire changer, it has these two tapered pieces. One of them actually is mounted on the bottom so it stays there. Set your wheel down on it and set these down. But this small of a diameter of bearing, the taper probably actually won't work, but I'll still go ahead and set them on there anyway because this pretty much will fit the axle, I would say, real close. We'll go ahead and set the tire on here. Set this on. We need to remove our valve core and let the air out and take off the lock nut for the stem. As you can see here on this changer, it has an adjustment. You loosen these two wing nuts here and you can slide this unit in and out depending on the size of the tire and the size of the wheel where you want it to be. So you want to set it to where this part here, this flat part that breaks it down, is extremely close to the bead, but not hitting the bead. So I'd say about right there. You can see right here the rim, and you want this flat edge here close to the rim, but when you push down on it, you don't want it hitting the rim for when it breaks your tire down. So you want it really close like that. And we can also, if we need to, loosen these two back wing nuts. Let me zoom out and show you. And we can also, if we need to, loosen these two back wing nuts, and you can slide this up and down depending on how tall your tire is. You may have a lot bigger tire than this. We just want to get it to where it's set down on there pretty close. Snug these up. Make sure we snug up the bottom ones down here so it don't move. And as soon as we let the air out, take the valve core out, we're ready to break it down. Go ahead and remove my valve cap. Remove the locking nut that holds your stem in, and remove the valve core. Alright, the next part I'll do is I always take my stem and just push it back. It won't go all the way through, but just push it back enough out of the way. And I've not used this before, so we're going to try it out. This is definitely my first test. Well, that was definitely easy. Of course, they shouldn't be hard to break down, but that broke it down extremely easy. So the nice part about this is not actually just breaking the beads down. It will, if you have a bead that's hard to get down. Usually motorcycle beads ain't too hard to do. But it gets it up off the floor when we're standing up here high to work on. Makes it a lot easier platform to work on than crawling around down on the floor trying to do it and laying it on a piece of cardboard. And you can spin it on this. Makes it real nice to turn it as you're taking the tire off the bead. So we want to go ahead and flip it over, make sure the other side's going down, and then we'll pull this tire off the rim. Extremely easy to use this to push it off the bead, but like I said, they're usually not hard to take off anyway. Now you can take this thing and put it where the disc is down or disc is up. I like it with the disc up because I can take my tire spoon, set one in here, lock it under the disc, take the other tire spoon and pull the tire off. Makes a good way to hold it while I'm doing this. Well, these are a couple of things that I've used on my African Twin. I'm going to try them on this. And it's not so bad on the unpainted wheels, but you don't show the scratches as bad. But you have the 250L with the black wheels. Prying them off, you could scratch the wheels up pretty good. And where I always start is my valve stem is here, so I always start close to the valve stem and work my way away from the valve stem. So we'll put these on, and then we'll see how this works on this bike, like that. Now when I pry on it, it's not going to scratch on the rim itself. So like I said, I start just this side of the stem, When you go in here, you want to be extremely careful not to get the tube. And before you prime this, you want to push this side of the tire down. And that will make this side of the tire go into the low spot of the wheel. And it will give you a lot easier prying because it scoots the tire this way actually, so it'll come off better. Like so, just be careful not to get your tube pinched in there, which is sometimes easier said than done. You just gotta be extremely careful. And then I see how I take this one and I set it under the disc to hold it. So when you take your second spoon, you don't want to take a real hard bite, a big bite, because it will make it a lot harder to pull this back. So you want to take small bites at a time. This thing can be just slid around the wheel as you go. And you don't want to pry it all the way back if you don't have to. Pry it back just enough to get this bead started over the top. And then you want to turn your spoon out of there so that you're not catching the tube, and you'll go back and take another bite. Same way, being real careful not to catch the tube. After you get it that far, usually you can take your hand and just pull up on the tire and work it all the way around. And that bead's off, so we need to take our tube out now. Push our stem back. The easiest way to get over the tube, and get a hold of it right here where the stem is. And then just carefully lift up on your tire so you don't tear the tube on anything. Bring it out all the way around. This tube should be good to reuse because the bike's not that old. A lot of people replace them every time. I don't. I only replace it if I need to. Okay, now the easiest way for me to take the bottom bead off, you can do it this way. It's easier for me to flip the thing, like so. Put that back on here. You want to make sure, like you did on the other side, make sure that your tire on this side is down in this valley right here, so it will be as far this way as possible. Just take your tire spoon, being careful not to scratch the wheel. And once you get this started, some you may have to pry all the way around, but a lot of tires like these front dual sport tires usually pretty easy. Once you get it started, you can just work it around with your hand. Tire's off. We're ready to put the new tire back on now. One other nice thing about this unit tire changer, it does come with this. And what this does, you can set this on here and check the trueness of your wheel to see if your wheel's out, especially if you want to adjust your spokes. To tighten up your spokes a little bit, you can put this on there, or if your wheel's a little bit out, you can put this on there, see how true your wheel is. You can see where the low spots are, high spots, and adjust your spokes accordingly. It's real simple. One side tightens it onto the stem, one side tightens this part here, so super easy to use. Slide it down on here, snug it up. Adjust it, you loosen this, adjust it in and out depending on where you want it. I want to set it right on the edge of my wheel like that. Snug it down, and then I can turn this and see that my wheel is true. Now I've already went ahead and adjusted the spokes, and all I do when I adjust them, I don't wait till they get real far out. About every 3 months or so, I'll just go ahead and take and adjust the spokes, and I just tighten them just a tad, just a little bit. You can feel how snug they are. And just make sure that they're all about the same tightness. And usually I never have a wheel that's out. You can see that this one is pretty straight. It's staying right on this little line right here. So as you can see, I got this red rubber end cap real close to the wheel. And when I turn this, you can see if there's a gap. There will be a gap between the rubber end cap and the rim itself. And as long as it's right on the money, I have nothing to worry about. If this side right here was a little bit low, if it dipped down a little bit, I could adjust this upper spoke, which will raise this wheel. You may have to do two spokes, two of the upper spokes to pull up, and Just tighten them a little bit. It don't take much to get that back in. You don't want to go too far or too tight, and just go all the way around. Make sure your wheel is true before you put your tire back on. It makes it easier. Then when you get it back on, you won't have the wobble. So that's just another nice feature that this unit tire changer comes with. I really like that they throw that in on the deal. So one thing I like to do with my tire, if it's sunny outside, is set the tire on the sun, let it warm up. Makes it a lot softer, easier to work with. So what I'm going to do, people use oil, people use soapy water. All I usually do is take a paper towel, squirt some WD on it, and I just coat my bead with WD just to make it slicker, a little bit slicker, so it'll pry on easier, and the both sides. You need to do this, and go ahead and do it because this WD-40 don't last long, it dries out. One thing you want to do anytime you put a new tire on is make sure if it's a directional tire that you do put it the right direction. And this one here says front use only, and it has a rotation direction. So with my disc on this side, which is on the left side of the bike, I would want the tire with the arrow going this way, so it will be the right direction of rotation when I put it on the bike. We're going to start one side, and we're going to do the same thing that we did on taking it off. We're going to make sure that this lower bead, the first bead I'm doing, is in this valley in the groove here to make sure that it pries on easy. You can also use those plastic wheel protectors if you want. I'm actually not going to use them because I'm prying on this side, and just be careful putting it in, and you shouldn't have to. It's up to you. I just want to start somewhere, and I want to take small bites to make it easier prying. And you can see it better this way. Just want to pry this bead on without, you don't want to pry the top bead on also, just the bottom. You can, if you want, you can take another one of your spoons, hold the tire in place as you pry around. I usually don't need to, but it is possible. So far the stand is actually holding it up pretty good. Not having a problem with the stand wanting to turn over or anything yet. Like that, and we got the, see how it started to put the top bead on, we don't want that on. Now we need to put our tube back in. So you always want to start first usually with the valve stem. Otherwise you'll never find it and get it lined up. So I go a little bit to each side. Then I'm going to take the valve stem and put it inside the valve stem hole. Then I'll spin my nut on there, but I don't spin it on and tighten it. I just go ahead and spin it on until it's snug for right now. I'll tighten it when I'm totally done. Try not to twist the tube, but just push the tube in all the way around. Make sure it's all the way to the back of the tire. When you do push it in, like so. Now I have a little bit of air to it, air it up, so it'll form fit inside the tire. Okay, when you air the tire up, you don't want to air it up too much. You just want to air it up where it swells the tube just a little bit. If you air it up too much, you could pop your tube, or it would actually just come out of the tire. So just air it enough that it swells up a little bit, and it will form fit inside the tire. Then you can go ahead and take it off, let your air back down, and the tube will be in place a lot longer. Just one way that I do it. Okay, now of course the most crucial part is when you start putting this bead on. That's when everybody pinches the tube. It's real easy to do, and you want to start away from the stem. That's the way I always do it, and pry toward the stem, You want to make sure that the same way you take this bead when you pry it in and push it down so it's into the valley on the rim, so it can go that way further, make it easier to pry. But just the biggest thing is when you put this in there, don't arc this up back very far. You shouldn't have to, because if you arc this back very far, you'll pinch the metal to your tube in between the wheel, and you will pinch a hole in it just about every time. And so just arc it a little bit. I'll get me another one. Start it in here. Just get it started. I'm going to go on this side a little bit. No big deal at all, as long as you take your time. Don't get in a hurry. Don't take too big of bites. You can see how this tire is already starting to go in here. I'll pull this out, and then I'll push this down so it goes into the low spot. That will make it easier to pry when I get around to this side when it gets tighter. A little bit on this side. Boy, this tire changer makes it so easy to do this. Of course, this is the first time I've ever used the tire changer. This is a time saver for sure, and saves your back, not crawling around on the ground trying to change a tire. Now, as you go, you tighten up, so you want to make sure that you push this down so that your bead is into this valley. That's one of the most important things to make it easy to put a tire on. So I just pry back a little bit, and then I curve to take this out. So what I'm saying here, I slide it in, pry back a little bit, and keep from biting in. I'll curve to take it out. Like that, and we're on. All we gotta do is air it up, make sure it's on the bead all the way around when we air it up. Turn off my air. What I was saying about making sure that you have it on the rim, you can see this bead. There's a little bead right here around, and you want to make sure that your rim is in the same position on this bead. This is all the way on, but you just want to make sure that that's the same way all the way around the tire. If you'll come around and you don't see this bead, then it's under the wheel and it's not actually popped into place. That's where you'll get your, when you go down the road, your motorcycle, your front tire is going to bounce because you're not on the bead all the way around. So all we need to do is take it off, check the bottom side, make sure it's on. If it is, we can take this off, air it up to the normal pressure, and we're good to go. There's 22 psi. And our last thing is we're going to put on the valve cap and go ahead and tighten down our valve stem nut. We just don't want to tighten it too tight. I have heard of people breaking them off. I never have, but you'd have to get pretty extreme. But we'll go ahead and tighten it down anyway so it don't move. Now we're ready to put the tire back on the bike. Okay guys, that's it for the unit tire changer. My opinion, very nice. Not to have to crawl around on the floor and do this, to be able to pry your bead off by just spinning the tire. You realize too, you're rolling on bearings, so it makes it real easy to turn. It also has this that comes with it to adjust the wheel. You know, if your wheel's out, you can check the to see if it's straight or warped or not, and you can adjust your spokes to accommodate. So that's pretty handy. The ease of breaking down. This one's not hard to break down anyway, but some motorcycle tires are hard to get off the bead. This part would be super to be able to pop them off the bead and not damage your wheel. So I really like the unit. It's super compact, don't take up much room, and it actually, the legs down here, you can loosen the bolts on it. You can fold this thing up and put it up out of the way, so it don't take up hardly room, any room at all. So real nice to take this. You can take this out on the track or out on the trail if you're going on a big weekend. Take this unit with you because it's so small and compact, and a lot better than being down in the dirt changing your tires on your bike, or adjusting the spokes, whatever you want to do. But you can use this unit and save yourself a lot of time. So I really like the unit. It's going to be super handy. I'll put a link to unit below where you can check these out. I don't know if they have them on Amazon yet. If they do, I'll post that link, but I don't think they do. Catch you on the next one. Click the thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Right on.